I'm here at the State of Digital Money in Los Angeles, and I'm excited. I got here early, went straight up to Jesse Lund, asked him questions, all of my questions and more. It was just me and him for almost, 15, 20 minutes. So here's the report right away. So first of all, one question I asked was, Jed McCaleb has said banks are moving slow, but I've also heard Jesse Lund say that central banks will be launching cryptocurrencies on the Stellar network soon. Are central banks moving faster than regular banks? And he confirmed, yes, they are. Who's the first central bank that will be on the platform? One that I thought was Sweden. He said, well, Sweden is all in. Technically, they're ready to go. The problem is they need legislator to make it legal and get passed through their legal system before they can do it. He says that, so that's looking at a couple years. The small Asian countries are the leaders, Singapore, Hong Kong, and he's not sure which one. They're sort of he's trying to get them to race each other. They have a deal, the first one or two to launch, IBM will do it for free. So and there are some, so that's coming soon. Sounds to me, if I was going to pick one now, I'd say Singapore or Hong Kong will be the first. What else? Also, he talked about, he spoke with the Bank of England, and they expressed a concern that I was thinking about. It's a similar, I just read, maybe I'll talk about this more in another video, but the St. Louis Federal Reserve here in the United States talked about, as these central banks are talking about, the central bank can create its own cryptocurrency that can be sold to individuals. So in other words, you own a coin that's directly with the Fed, as opposed to right now, you get your money from a bank who doesn't have anything backing it. And so if a bank goes under, you lose your money. But if you're with the Fed can always print more money. It's a safer place. It would be safer to have your bank account at the central bank than it is at a commercial bank. And central banks talk about like it's great. One thing I thought of when I read about this, and I was shocked that St. Louis Federal Reserve was saying this, and he mentioned the Bank of England is concerned that, well, if the central bank offers this to the general population, maybe there's going to be a run on commercial banks as all of their depositors leave and go to the central bank. And the central bank would then be causing a run on the existing commercial banking platform. So it sounds a little hairy. But at the same time, it sounds like they're also aware that this is coming. Competition is coming, change is needed, and the central banks seem to be somewhat aware of what's going on and are maybe more forward-looking than commercial banks. So I thought that was all interesting. Now, another question, too. I said I thought I heard, and was IBM granted lumens when they decided to work with Stellar? I thought I read that IBM has 5 billion lumens. No. He says IBM does not have any Stellar lumens. They could have received some, but there's issues. They're concerned that if they're holding lumens on their balance sheet, maybe that makes them into a money changer. How you doing? Someone's filming me filming. Turns them into a money center service. They go under different regulations, so they don't want to hold any lumens at this time. So they don't have any. And the other thing, because one thing I'm interested in is, what about IBM stock as a company? So that's one negative. Okay, they don't actually own any lumens. And the second is, when is the revenue from blockchain projects going to be big enough to impact earnings, be big enough compared to, their other large projects, artificial intelligence and the cloud and such? And he's like, well, I don't know. He's only IBM cryptocurrency, Jesse Lund, that is, the payment platform and working with Stellar. He's not dealing with all the other blockchain things, with the supply chain with Maersk and Walmart. So he doesn't know everything related to that, and he's like, listen, IBM is looking at this as a 10-year project. It's their long-term, like he said, they're the first two central banks get the work for free. So IBM, I just get the feeling that we're not going to see big numbers from this in IBM's stock or moving the stock and earnings in the short run. That's sort of the feeling I get, unfortunately, because I'm holding IBM stock. I may have to wait a while. They pay a nice dividend, but So that's that's what I learned there. Also, I asked about lumens. Is any of these banks maybe, is anybody holding lumens as a store of value? Clearly, it's a utility token on the network, but is it a store of value? He said right now banks are no banks want to hold lumens for longer than the 5 seconds that they use it as a bridge currency. So just to reiterate, IBM and Stellar is trying to facilitate international trade, for example, and that's just one thing they're doing. This international trade, so country A trades with country B, and they send the payment. Payment goes from country A's currency into lumens and then into country B currency. So lumens are needed and used, but only for 5 seconds. So it has a value, but that's different than people holding, the bank holding 1 billion lumens for 5 years, right? It's 5 seconds. So not having a store of value, using it as a store of value, makes lumens theoretically worth less than if it was. So Jesse Lund's impression was, first of all, the numbers are big. When I said, I heard they'll be doing $1 billion a month in international trade, he's like, oh, we're already past $1 billion a month. The numbers are huge, much bigger, and growing really fast. So the numbers on one hand are gigantic, and so if the lumens are only held for 5 seconds, and that's part of a huge number, then that gives some value. And he also did say that in the long run, and when the volatility subsides, he thinks that banks and others will hold it as a store of value. It is the native currency in the network, and as the network has all of these things going on, and there's so much value being added on the platform in digital tokens, whether it's a currency or a stock or payment for goods, there's all these things that adds value to cryptocurrencies in general and Stellar itself. So the Stellar lumens. So bottom line is, he didn't come out and say, yeah, lumens is a great store of value, but he also, also I didn't expect him or anybody to try to put a value on lumens today. What should it be worth? But he's optimistic about its value. He doesn't, he's not like, oh, I wouldn't buy that. He's optimistic about it. So, for me, I'm still thrilled and hodling my lumens. My recommendation is 50% Bitcoin, 30% lumens, 20% Ethereum. I'm holding with that. So I just did this video. Jesse Lund's about to get up and speak in a few minutes. I don't know, maybe I'll have to redo the video if he says something new that I didn't mention here. But anyways, that's the latest and greatest. Stay tuned. Thank you.